Hi everyone. Welcome to this special Q&A live stream. I just want to start it off saying thanks for everyone who took this journey with me. Since maybe the end of November, I've been uploading videos or doing live streams every single week. And it kind of switched from uploading a whole bunch of videos to doing mostly live streams. And now I'm back to trying to balance them out again. So yeah, this has been quite a journey, and I'm very thankful to be able to have hit 5,000 subscribers on here and be able to spend more time doing this now, which is just awesome. I'm gonna make a couple of announcements about this channel, and then I have some questions from Instagram that people have asked me over the weekend that I thought I would answer, just a couple. And then if you have any questions during the stream or any comments, please leave them in the chat and I'll kind of read the chat as we go along. So yeah, don't forget to say hi in the chat. Hi, Michael. 1 a.m. in the UK. Yeah, sorry, it's I couldn't, have a stream that fit for everybody all over the world. Unfortunately, we're not all in the same time zone, so maybe the next one I'll do in the morning. Hi, nobodies. Did I already say hi? I can't remember. So my coding live streams, I've been doing those Wednesdays and Sundays. I have been doing them on YouTube in the past, but I am going to move to, I am going to move those over to Twitch and focus YouTube on more maybe some live Q&As like this, interviews, and then regularly uploaded videos. And on Twitch, I'm just going to do a lot of live coding because the lag time is better for the chat and I can have chat bots, and it's just, I think the interface is a little bit nicer for live coding. So I'm moving over there for live coding. I'm Faraday Academy in both places. It's pretty much the same. You just go to a different website and watch me code either way. So I think that's it for announcements. I am trying to put out more video content. I'm working on a course right now, and I'm waiting for Vue 3. I'm eagerly waiting for Vue 3 to come out so I can make a new updated Vue course on that. So that's coming soon. Some questions I've been asked, and let me start off with, someone asked me what are my thoughts on Angular, and I don't know why this is like the number one most questions is like, what are your thoughts on X framework? And it's usually Vue, Angular, or React. Should I learn it? The answer is, if it's a popular, well-supported framework like that, then yeah, you're gonna do well if you learn it. If you are good at Angular, Vue, or React, you'll be able to find jobs, build applications, accomplish your goals. So yeah, go ahead and learn it. It depends what your goal is. So for example, in some areas of the world, particular frameworks more popular, or if you want to work at a certain kind of company, like for example, where I live, there are a lot of .NET shops that use Angular. So if I was starting out today and maybe I wanted to work at a specific place, yeah, I would use Angular. There's nothing, incredibly wrong with Angular, React, or Vue. If you watch this channel, though, you know that my favorite is Vue. Hi, Edgar. How are you? Good to see you. Yes. So the next question I got was, what made you choose Vue? And so there were a couple reasons. And the first time I looked at it, I was like, no, this is too weird. Like a conglomerate of a bunch of different frameworks seemingly mashed together into Vue. So I kind of threw it to the wayside, kept doing React and whatever else I was doing. And then I ended up picking it back up because I was having trouble teaching Redux and some other tools to new developers. So I picked up Vue again, realized how easy it was. The documentation has been incredible since I started using it a couple years ago. So the amount of effort that the Vue team has put into just making everything easy and user-friendly is so commendable. And I can't remember his name. He was leading the docs. Actually, so many people have contributed to their docs. They just have had a great team working on that. So I think the people first approach was part of what drew me in. And then there was also that it was lightweight. It was, I think it's quite a bit easier to use. I mean, it is easier to use than React. And now you have access to all of the underlying render functions, so you can kind of make it as easy or as advanced as you want. And you can see that from, everywhere from lots of beginners adopting Vue now to some of the largest companies in the world. I think Facebook, Baidu, Alibaba, there's so many companies using Vue now. So it's absolutely production ready. I'm super excited about Vue 3. I think the functional composition API was a really good decision. I'm so happy they went that route. And then someone asked me Vue or React or Angular. Again, that depends on what you want, what your goal is. I feel like I need to make a video about just that because I get asked this question every single day. If you want my opinion, if you're a beginner and you don't have a definite, 6 months, I want to get a job in this location. If you're a beginner, you're just trying to learn web development or how to code, I think you should definitely go with Vue because you can just drop the CDN into your HTML file or whatever, and then you can gradually get into more advanced JavaScript and Vue as you go. So you don't need to know about transpiling or JSX or any of that other stuff that you would have to learn if you went with React. And then, Angular is like a whole nother level of abstraction on top of all that. So yeah, I think Vue is the way to go if you're just learning. It's also all around great. I feel like companies don't spend enough time worrying about who and how they're going to onboard, since the majority of developers in the world have less than 5 years of experience. There's so many junior devs. I mean, the field is just doubling every year now, every couple years. I can't remember the stat, but it's growing so quickly. And so you have to really consider, if I'm at a company, when am I going to be onboarding new developers and what technologies should I choose so, it will be easier for them to adopt it in the future. And I think on previous projects where we had Vue.js, it was really easy to teach and onboard people because they just had to know HTML and, basic JavaScript and then CSS when we were using Sass. So it's basically CSS with a few extra features like variables, which isn't very hard to learn. Yeah. So those are the questions. I feel like I just repeat those questions all the time because I was asked some of those last week on my Instagram live stream and then again this week on Instagram. So yeah, that was just me talking for 8 minutes about why Vue is awesome. So does anyone else have any questions, anything you want to bring up? You can probably tell I'm so happy today. This was a huge goal of mine, was to hit 5,000 subscribers. And actually back at the end of November, I was at 1,100. And I was like, man, this is so hard even to get 2 or 3 subscribers or however many. Any questions? This is just a fun stream. Yeah, it was so hard. And then just slowly, I think live streaming really helped actually build a community. And even though it felt really awkward at first, just talking about coding and I kept getting stuck. But yeah, actually nobody remembers my live streams. He's been with me since the beginning, I think. Since I first started live streaming December maybe or January. It was sometime around there. And actually, the first 3 times I failed, I I did fail. The first 3 times I tried, I failed really, really badly with live streaming because I was trying to use OBS and some other software, and it just wouldn't work. And then my audio wouldn't work, and then something else wouldn't work, and then it wouldn't hook up to YouTube, and then it was just awful. So I got new streaming software, and that's when I really started to be able to stream much better. Who doesn't have view jobs? Here in Mexico. Oh, you don't have view jobs in Mexico. Is it the same in EUA? Oh, the European Union? I don't know. I know Vue is growing more popular worldwide, and they have Vue conferences in Europe, so I don't know which countries it's more popular in right now. I didn't realize they didn't have Vue jobs in Mexico. I mean, you're so close to the US and you're in the same time zone as us, so you could probably get remote Vue jobs here. I've had some remote Vue opportunities. Yeah, I don't know about the dev market in Mexico. You're still learning Python? Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, this has been quite the journey for the last 6 years of developing. I am here because you make great content. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Yeah, it's been quite a journey for the last 6 years. 2014. I mean, before that, I was kind of doing some HTML, WordPress stuff. I wouldn't call myself a coder. I was more like a dabbler. And then I got serious about it near the end of 2014. Built some mobile apps. Got heavily into web development in 2015. And then I got my first job in 2015. So, and then, yeah, it's been crazy how many different opportunities I've gotten since my first development job. It's been a journey. Once you start getting some traction, it's getting easier and easier. Yeah, it is. It is. Especially, actually, lately, it's been partially because I've been live streaming on the Free Code Camp channel, and I also created videos for them. So I have my Vue.js video, and then recently I made the GitHub video, which I'm really happy about. That turned out better than I thought it was. When I rewatched it, I was like, wow, I can't believe I made this. And then I've been doing the 2 live streams. I did 2 live streams so far on Free Code Camp. And out of all of those things, I think I got maybe 1,500 subscribers from those. And then, ironically, I got like 200 from my scams video, which I almost didn't publish because I was like, I don't want this type of content, or I don't want to be known for just drama on this channel or something. But hey, that was a popular video, probably my first and last scams video. Unless someone else tries to scam me, then I might make a video about you. Yeah. So, yeah, what's up? How is everybody? It's been 15 minutes. I'm not sure how much lag time is in the chat today. Hopefully it's not that bad. My internet's really fast, so if there's lag, it's YouTube. It's not me today. I thought you've been doing it for longer than 6 years. So actually, I went to college for software engineering in, I don't want to give away my age, in 2008-ish. And yeah, and then I took MATLAB, C++. I did some coding. I did some freelance work after that, but I wouldn't call myself a professional. I didn't know Git. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't do any build tools. I just was like, quick and dirty fixes. How can I do this? I had no idea about design patterns. Not really, anyway. So, yeah, I wasn't a good coder at all, I'd say. I learned almost everything I know from like 2014 on. Hi, Curly. So how do you keep yourself focused? I mean, do you have several hours developing and streaming to other people with time to not feel tired or think about let off that project? So I've become, I wouldn't say obsessed, but like strict with my routines. I use the Pomodoro method. I use the getting things done method. I use bullet journaling. Pretty much every kind of productivity system, I either use it or try it to stay productive all day. Also, I'm in a situation where I don't have kids and I don't have to take care of elderly family anymore. So it's like, I'm in kind of a convenient situation. I'm in this situation where I just, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to answer to anybody, I guess. So I have a lot of time to, although I do consult and I teach coding and then I do this channel. So I do have a lot of things I do actually, but I can choose to do those things. Do you plan to consistently keep view as the main theme of your channel, or is it just temporary? So I can't say what's going to happen in the future, but for right now, I'm focusing on Python and Vue.js. And that's partially because I like those things and partially because I use them at work as well. So, I don't have to go outside of my comfort zone. It's a bit easier for me to code and create content and stuff. But when I can do this totally full time, I'm going to expand into other areas. Maybe try some WebAssembly and stuff like that. Love the scam video. Well, good. That's the first and hopefully the last of its kind, but I'm glad you liked it. Oh, hi, Babby. I didn't realize that was you. She's been helping me with my social media, actually. So, yeah, she's been great. It's 5:45 a.m. in India. Good morning. Wow, you're up at 5:45. That is what I would like to do someday. Please enter what is your advice to master... Oh, scam video was great. Glad you liked it. I was mad, but so people say I have an inappropriate affect, so I don't show emotion normally, I guess. I don't know how much you notice that or don't notice it on camera, but so I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I'm really awkward in that video, but I guess maybe you don't see it like that. Please, what is your advice to master web developing? So to master anything, you really have to just build projects. So I think, 20% learning, like 80% building things is the best option. If you're beginning and you're just doing tutorials and going through Udemy courses and stuff, that's great. But you really need to come up with your own project ideas or find lists of project ideas on YouTube and other websites and just start building projects. Take the free Codecamp project, start building projects. You will have to grind and run into problems that you feel like you can never solve, and it's going to be hard and it's going to push you to learn and grow like a tutorial never will. So yeah, you're never going to be really good until you start building increasingly more complex projects. And that's really how you get to be an advanced developer. And so one story real quick. So I've been mentoring in Vue.js for a while, since last year. And I don't know, there's some kind of level or like moment when you realize that you get to be advanced at something. Because now when I mentor in Vue.js, it's like we can solve any problem. I don't feel like I get stuck like I used to. And I feel like, I don't know when that moment happened, but it's like, what do you call it? It's like this level. It's like for so long you feel like you're at the same level, and then all of a sudden you have this epiphany and you've leveled up and you just feel like you're a more advanced developer. You can solve all of these new problems, but it took, how many thousands of hours of building applications and coding and going to conferences and all that stuff to get there. Good night, Michael. Get some good sleep. Hope to see you back tomorrow, or no, Wednesday's my next live stream on the channel. What has been your favorite project throughout your development career? Man, there's been so many fun projects. So a couple years ago, I think 2017 or 2016, I did a big gamification project. I was working on gamification for a couple years, and plateau, thank you. So you plateau, and then all of a sudden you realize you've leveled up, and you feel like your mind is just like you're blown away by the level you've gotten to, and it feels like all of a sudden you just got there. Yeah, anyway, I don't know if I'm explaining that right. So my favorite project, so there was a gamification project I started working on at Hackathon in 2016 or 2017, and we incorporated it into a company, and I got to work in gamification like every night, every weekend for a couple of years, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about building an application from scratch, all the way from starting out scaffolding, making lots of mistakes, to deploying the application. I learned about business. I learned about so many things from that. So I think that's been my favorite project. We were gamifying good habits, like reducing people's waste, which in America is a huge problem. We are the most wasteful country in the world. It is unbelievable how much more we waste per person than any other country in the world. Though other countries are trying to catch up with us, but they have a ways to go. That was my most fun project. What other projects? I've liked the projects I'm working on now on the live streams. I really like the Reasonable Productivity project. That's a lot of fun. So I'm just so into productivity that I really want to launch that app and start using it, iterate, and hopefully make it into open source software. That would be cool. I just want to open source so much stuff. If I could work on open source software all the time, that would be such a dream, to just live code me working on open source software. Maybe in the future that would be some kind of app or tool that people use, free code camp curriculum. It could be so many different kinds of things. Oh, also, speaking of curriculum, the curriculum app that I'm working on, or have been working on, I've been waiting to launch that because I want to record a video of how I Dockerize it and push it to DigitalOcean. So that's been on my bucket list. I'm gonna get it done, but I went to the beach last week, so I got pushed back a few days, and I still have this other Vue CLI video that's just, I can't believe it's taken me so long to do that video. It's just been up and down, back and forth, but it's in my video editor right now. It's almost done. I just have to spend a few more hours, push through, and finish that. So yeah, after that I should get out a lot more video content. What do you think about Vue for developing desktop and mobile apps? So if you know Jared, he's in these streams, or he's in the chat a lot in my streams. He does a lot with cross-platform desktop apps. He uses NWJS, and he has some templates for using Vue with it, and or you can use Electron or whatever. But yeah, Vue works well for those JavaScript-based desktop apps. For mobile apps, I know, Alibaba, they use, what do they use? I can't remember. They use a framework for Vue for their mobile app, and I've looked at it. It works well, but I think a lot of the plugins and documentation are in Chinese, And I talked to someone who used it. He said he had some struggles with it. So there is NativeScript View, and NativeScript is an awesome project. So, and version 1 of that, a stable version, has been out for, I think, a year and a half now of NativeScript View. So that's a great project. I think, so in my opinion, it's better than React Native after working in React Native for a couple years, except it doesn't have as many libraries and tools. So you still have, I think, better performance, and you still have, it works a little bit different. So you have better API coverage for mobile development and a couple other things. So I really like NativeScript View, and I wanted to do a hackathon in NativeScript View. I will do it one day on Twitch, but I've had to do some stuff with Django first. Tell us about your experience working with the team remotely. I've had a couple different experiences working remotely. My second dev job was a remote company where I worked mostly out of a co-working space. That was an amazing experience. It was just so much fun to work with a bunch of senior devs who just wanted to help me. I grew a lot there. So more recently, I worked at a couple remote places. Let's see, last year I worked at 2 different remote places. So remote is kind of up and down because sometimes it can be great because I feel like I'm much more productive when I'm in my room, in my own setup. I can get in my zone. I can listen to my favorite song on repeat, and nobody's going to say that they're annoyed with me listening to a song on repeat. And, I can just zone in on the code. But it's hard to gauge if you're going to get along with people if you just had a quick chat with them remote, So, yeah, anyways, there was one company that I joined that I was hired remote, and then we ended up going and meeting in person for 2 weeks, and I decided after that it wasn't a place that I wanted to work for. I don't want to say why, but so I think remote is difficult to get to know your team, and because of the chat, you lose a lot of context when you're just typing chat messages into Slack or whatever. You can't see people's expressions or hear the intonation of their voice or tell if they're joking or not. So I think there are some hard parts about remote. It is nice that you can work from wherever you want. And one of my favorite things is that you don't lose commute time. Like all that wasted time and hassle of driving through traffic and to get to somewhere, have to find parking, go into the job, having to go out to eat or pack your lunch. It just wastes a lot of time. Like if I'm at home, I'm going to be in the zone, work whenever I want, cook myself lunch. So yeah, there's pros and cons. I think with remote companies, you have to be more careful because it's harder to get to know your coworkers. Yeah, that's it. But I do prefer working remote, which is what I'm doing now. Well, obviously since COVID, but even before COVID, I was working remote. What is Chinese is quite simple to translate. Oh, is it? They have like thousands of characters, and I guess I don't have to read it. I can just copy paste into a translator. Let's see. What's your opinion on front-end masters courses? Front-end masters, they have some awesome courses. Like they almost only put out top quality stuff. I've been really impressed with front-end masters. I haven't looked at them recently, but the last couple years I've taken quite a few courses. I sign up for a month, take a bunch of courses, and then cancel because I know I'm not going to look at it for another 6 months. And then if I want to look at it again, I sign up for another month. But that's a really good site. Like they have a lot of good content from a lot of good teachers. It was tried, but there's no binding with people. Yeah, even now, well, I'm a consultant, so I'm a contractor, but because I'm remote, it just feels like, hey, I did this feature. I'm going to say that I did this feature in chat and record a video about this feature and make a PR, have someone review my PR. There's no personal connection at all. So yeah, there are some things missed from working remote I think in all cases, but maybe not in all cases. I feel like it's easy to mix your life and work if you have remote work. Make too many pauses. Yes, it is, but since I already code all day, it's not a big problem for me. Although I do have blocks. So I plan my week every Sunday, and then I have these most important blocks, like things that I have to do, and I'll put those in my calendar and any meetings and stuff I have, and then I'll fill in my calendar with like the second most important blocks, and then I'll fill in my calendar with all the little stuff after that and fit those in wherever I want. So I do separate my work from my channel stuff, from errands, from other things that I have to do. I don't have a lot of friends, so I don't hang out or go out much. So it's not like I have a huge work-life balance issue to worry about, but yeah, I know what you mean. For some people, that's a struggle. What do you think about Vue plus TypeScript? So right now, I don't think it's great. When Vue 3 comes out, it's going to be awesome because it will be fully supported, built in TypeScript from the ground up to work well with TypeScript. So the functional composition API. So so it's going to work really well with TypeScript when Vue 3 comes out. It already works okay, but there are a lot of issues that TypeScript users don't like about Vue right now. So that being said, so there's the options API in Vue right now, which is easy. Hi, Cigar. Good to see you on the stream. This seems to be an awkward time for everybody in the chat. So the thing about Vue, so it's easy to get started with the options API, which is awesome. It's a great feature about Vue that their options API is nice and intuitive and kind of separated into methods and data and all that stuff. But the composition API, the functional composition API, is more advanced. So with TypeScript, I think you're going to want to do everything or almost everything in the composition API, which is going to require you to set standards for how you want to organize your code by feature. So it can be good. I think it's going to be a lot more advanced than so it's going to be a lot more advanced than just working with regular Vue, because instead of being able to use the options API, you're going to want to use the functional composition API. Because right now TypeScript users are using this funky class syntax, I think, for the most part. And then they're going to switch to the composition API when us regular users, we can just use the options API and feel free and nice and, not have to worry about it. But I think, TypeScript is also going to have really good support in Vue soon, so that's a good thing. But yeah, there's definitely a trade-off in complexity when you're using TypeScript. Now it requires decorators to make it work. Yeah, and it's funky. I love the block system, especially with COVID. Some people have a harder time switching to remote work and studying. Yeah, even for me, like at the beginning. So when I was heavily studying coding at least 3 hours a day in 2015, I was doing it at home. So I used all sorts of things, timers, I used browser blockers, I hid my phone so I wouldn't look at my phone. I had all these different systems and routines to get me to focus so I wouldn't be distracted by anything around me. So yeah, I guess those patterns helped. And now I'm so used to it, used to doing those things, that I feel like I don't even need a browser blocker anymore or any of that stuff, because it feels almost natural. Like I just get into focus mode. Some days I struggle. Like I'll have to set a timer to start coding and say, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, start coding. And by the end of the 5 minutes, I'm so into it that I can just keep going for another hour, 2 hours before I get up and stretch. Makes developing bigger projects easier. Gwen was cruel to Gwen. Was I cruel to Gwen? Maybe. But, it got me to a good level pretty quickly when I dedicated so much time to coding. But developing bigger projects, I don't argue with that. So when you have a team of people coming in and out and you need code standards, certain expectations, or you have a complex code base, like the VS Code team, I know it's a Microsoft-based product, so, obviously they were going to be using TypeScript, but the VS Code team did do a nice write-up about why it helped them to build VS Code with TypeScript. So I think TypeScript is good for some things, but right now it seems like everybody's just putting TypeScript into every project, and a lot of people won't admit that there's more complexity with TypeScript, and JavaScript is such a funky language. I mean, TypeScript doesn't fix all the funkiness in the language. So I feel like some people use it thinking that they're not going to run into issues, but they still run into issues because it's JavaScript. So TypeScript has its use cases sometimes, and a lot of times you don't need TypeScript. For example, testing catches more bugs than TypeScript or anything else, yet I would say 95% of companies don't use any testing or not much testing. So, and I see companies who don't have any testing and have all this other mess, and they're trying to put TypeScript in their code base instead of doing the 10 or 15 other things they should be doing before. Yeah, I had this very frustrating project a couple years ago where there was a lot going on, and they were trying to upgrade from Angular 1 to React, and I was helping them. And they hadn't finished upgrading from Angular 1 to React yet. And they were doing other stuff too. They were changing and upgrading other stuff. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, let's just add TypeScript in on top of all this. I'm like, can't we just finish one thing first? Can we just finish this? And then we'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll add TypeScript. But it's like all this stuff So TypeScript isn't... So you have to be in the right place in the right project to use TypeScript, I think. Plus some of the benefits from TypeScript, like, getting certain hints and things in your editor, you can get those without TypeScript. So there are some benefits and stuff, and type checking and all that stuff you can do without TypeScript. So it's not like you always just need TypeScript. But if you come from a language that uses types, or, most languages, I guess. If you come from a language like C# or Java, you want to use TypeScript for that reason, or if you're in a complex project or something like that, then use TypeScript. But just know there's a trade-off in speed of development and in complexity for TypeScript. Late to the party. You missed our TypeScript. You missed us talking about Vue. Working from home, saying hi, me saying that I'm moving my coding live streams over to Twitch. Basically. Nobody's just summed it up. I'm using interfaces. Yeah, interfaces. I think interfaces are nice. Custom types, um, whatever else. I'm not a big fan of classes in general, but I do like type checking. So, like when I use props, I always check the type. You know, is it a function? Is it an object? If I'm doing professional software, I'll check down to the shape of the object. I try to write tests and stuff like that. Something in my last company was switched suddenly to React with TypeScript. Yeah, it is a pain. Um, Now I think React is a little bit better with TypeScript now, but especially a couple years ago, it was an extra pain. And especially when their docs weren't updated like they are now. Now I think their docs are pretty good, but a couple years ago, their docs were harder. It was harder to start a project. You had to do a lot more yourself. What has been one of the struggles with? Oh man, it's been 42 minutes. I didn't even realize it. Um, what has been one of the struggles with working as a developer in a company? There are a lot of there are a lot of struggles. People is the number one struggle. Struggle with people. Like who is it who said every problem is a people problem? It's not a coding problem. Um, so yeah, so everyone has a different personality. Everyone has a different background, different expectations, different preferences. Developers are the pickiest, most opinionated people sometimes, and we all have our opinions and biases and whatever. Um, so yeah, that can be a challenge to overcome. It's also, I used to have a big problem uh, just trying to. So I said too many things in the past. Like when I had an opinion about something, I just blurted it out. Like, oh, this is really dumb, or oh, I can't believe you did that. And I didn't mean to. It was just, I didn't have a filter. I didn't know when to say things and when not to say them. So that did cause a few problems in companies, and I hope that I've gotten past that now. But yeah, people are the hardest part of development. I think in software engineering courses, they need to teach more people skills as a core part of any curriculum. Um, the same thing in my last company. We switched. Oh yeah, I come from Java too. Yes, yeah, yeah. I worked in Java for like 7 months, I think, and it does feel like TypeScript. So the C sharp team, or the whatever Microsoft team was building TypeScript, they said, "Oh no, this has nothing to do with C sharp." But they were C sharp developers, so of course, their background had an influence on how TypeScript was created. It's not like it had no influence, like their history had no influence whatsoever on TypeScript. So it does feel very C sharp Java like, especially for developers like me. Like I use Python, JavaScript, and Go, and I would love to be doing Rust pretty soon, but none of those are really anything like TypeScript. Ethereum too, Solidity, which I don't know. It's not really TypeScript-esque either. If we could only eliminate people from coding. Soon we will. Did you see AI code generation? Soon it's going to be a combination of people and AI writing code. It's not just going to be us typing things in. TypeScript and Vue. TypeScript and Vue 3 is going to be awesome. You're going to like it. Do you think you can build your niche Vue Next only, or want to learn any other framework? I don't want to learn any other framework. Am I limiting myself? So Next is a very niche framework. Also, if you can use Next, then you can use regular Vue. So it's not like you can only use Next if you're focusing on Next, because your logic, all your stuff, yeah, Next abstracts some things away from you, but a lot of those things are boilerplate. So you're still using regular Vue logic in Next, So I don't think that's limiting you at all. Also, I mean, Nuxt, Nest, and Nuxt, those server-side rendered projects, they're really good ideas. I mean, they would be awesome for, I don't know, like 80% of use cases. So I think that's a great thing to focus on. Is Go powerful for backend? Yes, Go is extremely small API. It's extremely fast, powerful. Now, if you're building an operating system, you'd want something like Rust, C++, something like that. But for web backends, microservices, writing jobs, Go is just awesome. I love Golang. It's so simple and beautiful and just elegant. I'm a big fan of Go. I think it's a well-designed language. Yeah, AI is not there yet, but it will be pretty soon. Why don't you use Angular? It's more structured and SEO friendly. Vue.js still not good for large projects. So I don't fully agree with that. So I did use Angular 1 years ago. I worked in Angular. I wasn't a big fan of Angular 1. I've done a little with Angular 2 only because I was mentoring at a coding school where they taught Angular 2, so I had to learn it to help students. But I haven't worked in a professional Angular 2 project. So you have on one end, you have the batteries included, which is Angular. All of the batteries are included. And then you have React on the other end, which is completely do your own thing, everything plug and play, completely customizable. And then you have Vue, which is right in the middle. And I like being in the middle. I like that I can keep it as light as I want or use it as a full-fledged opinionated framework if I want. Because the ecosystem around Vue, if you use all their ecosystem like routing and state management, all that stuff, then it is more of an opinionated batteries included framework. Where is it? So more structured. Yeah, maybe it is more structured, but you can use Vue as a highly structured framework too. It's much more flexible than Angular. Also for SEO, if I am worried about SEO, a lot of my applications are internal, so I don't worry about SEO. But if I'm building a website or something and worry about SEO, I'm going to use Nuxt. I'm going to use a server-side renderer. Even with Angular, I would use, Nest. Yeah, Nest. Or React Next. I would use one of those server-side rendered frameworks. So I think they're all comparable. I don't see any one of the three as being better in terms of SEO, React, Angular, or Vue. Vue.js, so some of the largest companies in the world use Vue. I have to argue with you there. Because so I know some large companies around Indianapolis using Vue. There's also the Facebook newsfeed for marketers, I think. Baidu, Alibaba, they're massive companies and they heavily use Vue and invest in Vue. So it's not like it can't be used for large projects. That being said, the Vue 3 update is going to be better for large projects because it will give you even more code organization options. So I think it's good for projects of all sizes. Go's new framework called Fiber. I haven't tried it. The only framework I've used with Go is Gin, which I think is a really good framework. Depends on configuration. Yeah, a lot of all of this depends on who's the programmer and what are they doing. I love React. Vue is not bad. I hate Angular. Yeah, see, everyone's got a different opinion. I actually loved React for years. Like, I felt like I couldn't get enough of React, even though I prefer backend. I just loved using React in JavaScript. Because then I could do a lot of logic on the front end. And I thought, oh, this is great. It's easy to use. I was good at Redux and all that stuff. But once I really got into Vue, then I realized, yeah, I think Vue is the next evolution of framework that took some really good pieces from React and from Angular and kind of married the two. Next storybook, just Vue plus Inversify. I've never used Inversify. What is Inversify? Vuex, Axios, Nuxt, Storybook, Jest. Yeah, those are all the things I use. So I did use Java with Spring. It's not my favorite, so maybe you can tell if I like Go. I like less verbosity, less public static int main, and more just defining functions and variables. And yeah, I do like compiled languages, so Go's compiled. I do like compiled, but I also like the speed and flexibility that comes with non-compiled languages, so I like using both sometimes. A lot to configure, but once it's done, man, the development is interesting. Dependency injection for JS. So Vue already does dependency injection. Are you talking about more dependency injection than it's already doing? Because for the store and everything, so it takes it basically took that from Angular, or I guess was influenced by Angular with the dependency injection stuff. Helps to keep components dependencies flexible. Okay, I'll have to look into it. Make a note of that. Inversify. That's good. I always think, oh, I'm going to do a video on that. And then I come up with this list that's like 1,000 videos long. And who knows when I'll get to all these videos. Vue default. Yeah. And I guess you don't use it for that many things. Of course, I've never thought to myself like, wow, I wish I had more dependency injection. Maybe I just haven't run into the same use case as you. Inversify is more like AutoFact. Oh, I don't know. I haven't used much C#. I worked in one code base that was, I think it was ASP.NET, and all I was doing was deprecating endpoints and moving them over to Java. So I was, basically trying to parse through this 2 million lines of C# code and deprecate endpoint by endpoint, move them over to Java, which is not the most fun project. But I guess .NET Core is supposed to be a lot more fun and interesting. So if I ever have the urge to do .NET again, I don't think so, but I'll probably check out .NET Core. It's good with TypeScript, but you can use it with plain JS. Are you laughing at the project? Yeah. So right now in my career, I'm doing consulting. I'm taking project by project, but my goal is to just be able to make courses and live stream me working on open source software, like I mentioned earlier. So that would be awesome. Just get up in the morning, drink some coffee, work out, and live stream working on open source software, tools. There's one tool, what was it? Oh, for screen reading software. I've been looking at, wanting to contribute to. There's so many projects that I feel like if I didn't have to work a job, I could just work on all these other projects. I propose Sudoku Solver as the next project video. Tornado to build the REST API and Vue.js on the front end. What do you think? I haven't tried Tornado. I'd have to look at it. I'm open to trying new tools, frameworks. Sounds like the life. Yeah, start live streaming. We'll be live streaming buddies on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Yeah, I'm open to trying new tools and frameworks. So Sails, I checked out Sails. That's for JavaScript backends. What else have I checked out? I checked out a couple Python frameworks. So of course, there's Flask and Django. I've been using those. What is it? Web2Py? But I had some problems with that framework. I think that hasn't been developed that much recently. Hi, Basil. How are you? Yeah, so I've been checking out different frameworks, wondering which ones I should use in my next stream. So far, I've only done Express and Django for backends, but I'm open to doing other things. I've done a lot of Flask in the past, so I could do another Flask backend, probably if it's a microservice. I tried to do Flask with Mongo last year for an app, and that wasn't the easiest thing to do. So I don't know how many things I would use Flask for. Anyway, good, great. So yeah, does anyone have any more questions, or am I just rambling now? It's been almost an hour, so I think an hour is pretty good for a Q&A live stream. Yeah, and I'll definitely look into Inversify. So if you haven't checked out my Discord, it's linked in the description below. And so basically I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all these different platforms, and I kind of get messages all over the place, and I get emails, and I don't mean to ignore people, but it's hard to check so many different places. Like, oh no, I have a message here, and I have a message on Facebook, and so I'm trying to just, if people want to message or chat, Discord I think is one good central location for chatting and messaging. So I would prefer, if you want to message me, Discord is a great app, great tool. You can join my Discord, it's linked below. Rambling is best. That's what I do every time in live stream. Come hear me ramble. Fiber is an Express-inspired web framework written in Go. Yeah, so I guess how is it different than Gin? Because Gin is kind of a micro framework. I guess I have to look at it. I've heard the name before, but I really don't know anything about Fiber. But I'm definitely open for it, because Go development is just delicious. It's so nice. I don't know the proper terms, like peaceful, nice, good. I just really like Go. So we wanted to learn real-time project. Can you help? What's real-time? You mean like with sockets? Like a chat app with sockets or something? Is that what you mean by real-time? I definitely like to do sockets. Oh, so I have a code base that is, what was it? Oh, it's Express and, Sequelize. So I have this Sequelize tutorial that I have planned. I have the material. I have everything for it. I just need to basically record the video. So I need to do that at some point. I've had that for months now. WebSockets. Yeah, I should do, maybe I could add WebSockets to that one actually. What about Vue plus GraphQL plus Django combo? Yeah, I like GraphQL. I've worked with so much REST all the time. I think only one job I've had actually used GraphQL, besides little one-off projects. But GraphQL is an awesome idea. I like GraphQL. Yeah, I'll have to do something in GraphQL pretty soon. I've been looking into it for Django REST framework, seeing how GraphQL plugs into it. So also Vue Apollo. I've been playing around with Vue Apollo. So I think I'll do a Vue with Vue Apollo Django backend with GraphQL. I'll have to figure out some projects to do. So GraphQL is basically a way to, it's an architectural pattern for designing your APIs, I guess, and how your front end communicates with your API. So there's REST, which, gives you certain, so you use get, post, put, patch, delete, you send REST requests to resources and then items and then sub-resources, sub-items. There's certain patterns associated with REST. And then it's hard to just say verbally if you've never seen it before. But GraphQL is more, the front end specifies exactly what it wants from the database, sends that request to the backend, and then the backend doesn't have to do all the logic or heavy lifting. It's the front end asks for the data it wants in the format it wants, and then the backend basically pulls that from the database and sends it. Like request method? I'm not sure what you mean by like request method. Were you adding on to what I was saying? I can't remember exactly what I said now. Yeah, GraphQL has a lot of good ideas. Yeah, exactly. GraphQL is almost like writing SQL from the front end. Is it cheating? Is GraphQL cheating? I don't think it's cheating. I mean, stuff you don't want accessed, you'll obviously, prevent the front end from accessing that, but I don't see how that's cheating. Hi, Mo. Is it Ma or Mo? How are you? I need to get an avatar. That's one thing that I need. I'm having someone design a robot avatar for me. I'm not sure the status of that. I'm hoping it turns out well so I can be Gwenbot. I think that's my future right there. GraphQL. Yeah, I think it depends on the relationship between the front end and the back end, but it definitely could speed up development, make it easier, depending on what you're doing. But a lot of companies I work at, they have more back-end devs than front-end devs. So it's kind of the back-end people build it how they want to build, and then the front-end has to kind of connect into the back-end. So I guess with GraphQL and stuff like that, it would be more heavy lifting on the front end, so maybe one or two of the back-end devs have to move over to the front end. So maybe that's why more back-end devs don't adopt GraphQL. I don't know. I'm just speculating right now. All right. So it's been over an hour. Thanks so much for tuning into this live stream. I thought this was going to be done 20-30 minutes. I thought, okay, I'll get a couple people to say hi, and that's it. But thanks. This was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun listening to me ramble and talk about the past and the future of my channel. I hope you stay with me and watch future live streams, future videos. My Wednesday morning live stream on Twitch, Friday morning live stream on the Free Code Camp YouTube channel, not on my YouTube channel, on the Free Code Camp one. And then Sunday, I'm going to visit my brother on Sunday, but I'm still going to live stream. So it's a 3-hour drive. So I figure if I wake up early, I can live stream maybe like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. And I'll still be live streaming on Sunday. I have to figure out what time. So that might be perfect for you depending on where you live. Thanks. Thanks for all the good vibes. Thanks. Yeah, I hope you join me. And also, if you make something cool, if you're working on a cool project, feel free to post and share in my Discord. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. This was great. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.